Destination Medicine is a collaborative initiative of regional training hubs. With first-hand lessons learned from those who have gone before, this podcast is designed to assist and inspire anyone interested in pursuing a medical career in rural and regional Australia.
Welcome to Destination Medicine. I'm Nicole Goodman.
Lismore GP Dr David Glendinning says he was always interested in everything, and that's why he chose general practice rather than a medical specialty at the end of his study years. And Lismore became his choice of destination after spending time there as a student. But coming late to medicine meant sharing that choice with his fully fledged family. There have been no regrets, he says. Work-life balance and the diversity offered in general practice have brought Dave Glendinning immense satisfaction. It was a wise choice that he made then when he decided to shift from an altogether different career to take up his medical studies. Dr Glendinning starts by taking Heather Dawson back to that earlier life, long before he became a well-established Lismore GP.
My previous life, I was an engineer and a project manager, and I worked in Sydney for the railways and then for a big consulting firm. And then I had a change and decided to go into medicine. I studied at Wollongong University, and they were very strong on encouraging their students to get out into the country and get out into the regional areas. And we took the opportunity, end of our second year, third year, to come up to Lismore as a student. We thought that would be a great opportunity for our family to escape the city and try living in a regional area. We loved our time up here in Lismore, and so we thought, let's stick around. And so I completed my internship and residency at Lismore Base Hospital, and I was always interested in everything. So people will always ask you as a junior doctor or as a medical student, what specialty you want to go into or what interests you. And my answer was always everything. And I guess because of that, I decided to do general practice because I get to see everything every day. And I find that really stimulating and really keeps me engaged professionally. And that's how we sort of ended up in GP as a GP in Lismore.
How old were you when you decided to career swap like that and head into medicine?
So I was a little bit older. I was 27. I had, by the time I'd decided to jump in. And then I also had 2 kids by the time I was in first year. So I applied when I was 27, but then it took another year just of trying to sort out logistics with family and jobs and things before I actually commenced at medical school. So I'd left a nice well-paying job with 2 children and a mortgage, commenced on a journey in medicine.
So you obviously enjoyed working in the regions, Dave. What do you see as the benefits of choosing to complete a medical training as a GP in this region of Lismore?
There's lots of great reasons of why you should come and do GP training in a region such as us up at Lismore. The first one, I guess, is that you really are connected into the medical community here. So the medical community is big enough in that it offers lots of great services for our community, but it's also small enough in that you do get to know each other. You, for example, swim at the pool and there's a local surgeon and there's a practice manager for an ophthalmologist who's in the swim squad. You might join a local footy team and then you'll see one of the anaesthetists there, or you'll see 2 of the other GPs that'll be there and 3 of the physios from the hospital. So there's that community aspect that you do get to really feel a part of the medical fraternity in the region. The second thing is that I think you get to do more. So in the big city, perhaps there's pressure or there's the temptation to refer patients on earlier to specialists because there's so many of them available. Whereas here in the region, there is good services available, but they really do rely on the GPs to do as much as they can in their setting before referring patients on. And I find that really satisfying professionally, in that I can keep some of my patients and manage them as much as I can with good close support on the phone if I need from other specialist colleagues before referring them on. And I guess from a lifestyle point of view, It is a beautiful region up here. We've got rural areas, we've got fantastic beaches and coastal areas. We're not too far from major urban areas if you want to drive. Lismore area is fantastic in that it is a regional area, well supported, lots of services and fantastic and beautiful scenes around.
Is there any piece of advice, Dave, that has stuck with you in your journey into medicine?
I think one of the best pieces of advice I was given was just to try as many different things as you can and to gain as broad an experience as you can. So even if you do have a career path in mind, to still try and gain that broad breadth of experience, because you might find there is another specialty or another area of medicine that you actually really like and really enjoy and that you'd never thought about it. And also for general practice, you need that broad experience in that you never know what is going to walk in through the door. And to have had a broad experience across multiple settings and multiple areas of medicine is really invaluable. And then knowing who to call if you are stuck. So the best advice I was given was get as broad and varied experience as you can.
Well, you've already mentioned many things that have attracted you to the Lismore area, Dave, but what do you think is the most rewarding thing for you about being a GP?
The most rewarding thing is that you do see the impacts that you have on the people in the community. So I think being in a regional area, you will see your patients around town, you will see your patients at the shops. And for some people that can be a bit awkward, but I think it's actually really great in that you can see a kid who you might have, has had a broken leg or a broken arm, and then you see them 12 months later running around playing cricket, playing soccer, and someone else who's had a serious medical problem, and you've been able to intervene and link them in with appropriate care, and then you see them still going about living their lives in the community. And I think that's really satisfying to know that. I think the other really satisfying thing about general practice is that you do have control over your life and over your career, and that you can have a great work-life balance. I really enjoyed my time working in the hospital, but I soon learnt that I was not well suited to shift work and to night shifts. And so another great aspect of general practice is that you do have control over your career and the hours that you work and when you work, which is great.
Have there been any challenges living and training in Lismore, in the region?
So moving family from Sydney, where we do have family support, to a regional area where we're 8 hours away, 9 hours away in a car. That was a challenge, and that was difficult and a challenge for our family to manage that. We were able to link in with some of the other community groups in the area. There was a church we were involved with. There was some sporting teams that we signed up to quite early on. So we were able to make quickly some good friends and good connections with kids of similar age, which meant you could share the burden of looking after kids and all those sort of things that when you need a break. And I guess also for my wife, so she was a teacher, there was concern about her then trying to find work up here. Thankfully, there's lots of schools up here, and they always need more teachers in the regional area, so she was able to find work quite quickly as well. But that might be a challenge for some other people, depending on what their partners are doing, their husbands or wives, in terms of their careers. But in the regional areas, there still is lots going on. There is a diverse range of jobs available, but that was one of the main concerns.
So what advice would you give to a junior medical officer, Dave, considering a career in general practice?
So my advice would be maximise the opportunities that you do have if you are based in a city hospital. So go and see as much as you can and as widely as you can to gain a great broad experience from the big city hospitals, and then come to the country and have a great time, being able to have a great positive impact on your local community while having a great lifestyle. I think the regional area, so a place such as Lismore, it's big enough in that there's great services here from a medical point of view. There's great services for your family if you come, but it's also small enough in that you will get to know people quite easily. You will get to connect in very quickly with the medical fraternity, but you're still going to see a broad range of pathology. You're still going to see a broad range of issues that will keep you very well interested in your career.
Okay. Dave, tell us about Dr Andrew Binns, a colleague of yours, I understand, that may have had some influence over your career choices and your journey?
Yes, so Dr Binns, he's an amazing local GP. He was my supervisor when I came up here as a student with Wollongong University, and now we are colleagues. We are next door to each other at our room in our practice. And he's a fantastic GP. He's been in this area for a long time. He's well connected in the community. He's particularly well connected and has provided great service to the local Indigenous communities. He's been heavily involved in the Aboriginal medical services, and he's also quite a philanthropist as well in terms of contributing to the local arts scene and the performing arts in particular. So it's great to have those role models around as a new fellow and as a trainee, to see these people who have worked hard for their communities and are well respected, but have also found other ways outside of medicine to continue to contribute to their communities, such as in the arts, or I know he's also a keen cyclist. So yeah, he's a great GP and he's a great mentor.
Okay. Now, what benefits did you gain from the long-term placements that you took during your medical student days?
So the Wollongong program, we have a 12-month placement in a regional area, and as part of that I was with Dr Binns in the general practice at Bar for 12 months. The advantage of that is you get to see more long-term and continuity of care for the patients. So you are seeing patients for several visits. You are seeing that longer arc of the patient's journey with an illness. So you get to see the patient sometimes when they first present, when they've had some initial treatments, and then to see the effects of those several months down the track. It's great teaching and it's great learning experience that you just can't get in a short-term hospital placement or even a short-term general practice placement. So that continuity of care, seeing that patient's journey, that really is a great experience and serves very well.
Okay, well, final question, Dave. Are there any particular stories, moments as a GP, nuggets of experience that perhaps encapsulates why you love what you do so much?
I guess I do enjoy being able to advocate for the patients and to be able to facilitate their journey through the hospital system. So an example would be, I also work in the local emergency department. So there's Lismore Base Hospital. There's also some smaller peripheral sites where there might only be one or two doctors on. And I was working in one of these smaller sites. It was a Saturday evening and a chap came in with a sore throat, and I was sort of rolling my eyes as to why this chap decided to come in on a Saturday night because of a sore throat. But he told me, the story was he'd had this for 3 or 4 years and he actually had a lump in his neck. And I knew that this guy most likely had cancer in his throat when he stuck out his tongue and it went sideways. He could not get into his GP, his local GP, because of the area where he is. They have a 4 to 6 week wait. So for this chap, I was able to arrange a whole bunch of investigations and scans for him. I said, you can come and see me. I'm a relatively new GP. I do have spare slots available. We got the scans done. He came and saw me. I'd already arranged for him to go and see the specialists up at the Gold Coast. I'd already linked him in with our cancer care team locally. So within a week of this guy coming to see me in emergency, I'd been able to facilitate and link him in with all the specialists that he needed. And within 2 weeks, he was receiving appropriate treatment. And he's doing great now. I'd hate to think of what would have happened if he hadn't come in on that Saturday night and if he'd still been waiting to see his local GP. So we need more GPs in the region. We need GPs who can come and help serve these communities in great and fantastic surrounds. And we need GPs who are linked in with their local specialist colleagues so you can help facilitate timely and appropriate treatment for patients.
Lismore GP Dr David Glendinning. This is Destination Medicine. Thanks for listening.
Regional training hubs are supported by funding from the Australian Government under the Rural Health Multidisciplinary Training Program.